Hey, everybody. Hey, Curvies. Let's see how this is going to happen. Hopefully, your bell was rung. We are right on time. This is our second live today, our second live. So, I am coming live to you again just so we can talk about um, this wonderful lady that I heard about. So initially I heard about her, and she was a missing woman here in California. And the story was a woman had came out from Georgia, and she was coming out here on a solo camping trip, like a dream of hers solo camping trip. And she wanted to go to the Sierras here in California. And she had her electric bike, and she had all of her stuff to go camping for 3 days, was what the plan was. So then she comes up on my Instagram feed as a missing woman, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I don't always pass those forward, but I did this time. And I'm going to tell you everything else that happened in just a second. Let me see.
For years, I blamed my back fat. Turns out,
Yeah. So, there, she came up on my feed, and she was a missing woman. And I was like, oh my. So I don't always pass those forward, but this time I was like, oh, let me pass it forward. Right. And before, and that was like around Easter, that I remember her coming up on my feed as a missing woman. Do this real quick. All right. Okay. So I wanted to play that. And that was the intro. And this is what we're going to watch right here. So the lady comes up on my feed as a missing woman. And go ahead and smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. If you haven't already, ring the bell so you can get notified when I upload videos and things like that. And so, anyway, she comes up on my feed as a missing woman who had gone on a solo camping trip here in California. And I was like, oh my. So I reposted. And then later on, she is still missing. Like, I'm telling you, she left on the 20th of April on a camping trip. Her parents reported her missing 9 days later. So on the 29th of April, they reported her missing. And they just found her 3 weeks later. She endured like 21, over 20 days. I think it was like ultimately 23 days. Ended up gone, out lost in the wilderness. Her story is like a freaking movie. She's still recovering. Her name is Tiffany Slaton. As it turns out, she was built for this in a way like no one could have expected, not even herself. where she has, she's Bermudan American and also an archer, a master archer. And so she's an athlete in her body. And also, she happened to be a kind of survivalist to where, like, you don't have to go to the grocery store to go to feed yourself if you know how to forage. So she knew how to forage. And so she was able to make tea, eat leeks, and survived avalanches, animals, coyotes, mountain lions, all the different types of animals. Her story is fascinating. So I wanted to bring it to us here on Larger Curves because it was really interesting to me to hear her talk about her experience and everything that she went through. And I thought that us curvies might benefit from some like real life survival tips from a sister goddess who like literally needed to like dig deep, not go crazy, get to a place, and even that place, what could have been her last place had it not been for God sending somebody to check the cabin, you know, because he was getting ready to go on vacation. So that's a whole other part of this. So this is a fascinating story. It's current. It just happened. The story that we're going to listen to about Tiffany Slaton just happened. This is 2 days old that she did her first press conference after being found for, like, she was on day 3. She's going to mention 3 days. And this is 2 days. So she's been found 5 days. They have that movie called Girl Lost. This is Girl Found. She's been found for 5 days and she was missing for 23 days in the wilderness. Her tent got destroyed. Her sleeping bags got destroyed. She had to make a splint. She had to pop her leg back in freaking socket. All kinds of things Tiffany Slaton had to endure. It's fascinating. And the homage and the mental toughness that she took to get her to the place where she can come here and talk about it. And even in the story, she's going to tell us there are things she can't even talk about. Like with everything she's telling us, she said she had to like fight wildlife and lost. And she's not ready to tell that story because it happened more than once. And like, yeah, she doesn't really want to relive that is what I got from it. She didn't say the word relive, but I got the feeling that she didn't want to really relive that. Ooh, sneezes. So, whew. So we're going to go ahead and start listening to Tiffany Slaton's first press conference after being found. Feel free to smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, come on in the room. This is going to be some good stuff. We're going to do some commentary and we'll be reading comments and stuff from you guys. Okay. Should I put closed captions on for you guys? Yeah, let me leave that on. I think it's on. Let me know if you can hear it. Where's my...
Thank you for being here today. We are here today to talk about an incredible story, heroic story, something that you may see on TV that they would make movies about. But this story involves a young lady named Tiffany Slaton, who, on her journey through the Sierra Nevadas here in Fresno County, it is truly an incredible story of perseverance, determination, and survival. This young lady, from about April 14th all the way through Easter, was on her way up through the Shaver and Huntington Lake areas. At one point, she spoke with some people at Huntington Lake near the China Peak Landing and talked to some folks. And she was on her electric bike with all of her equipment. and there were some other individuals there who did not have electric bikes. They commented on her electric bike, but this young lady made it up Kaiser Pass Road all the way over the top of Kaiser Pass, which is a peak that's over 9,000 feet high. She went all the way back on that road toward the High Sierra Ranger Station to an area where you call it's the Y, or the fork in the road, where to left is Mono Hot Springs and Edison Lake, or what we also refer to as Vermilion Valley, and to the right was the Florence Lake. She traversed this area.
All right, it plugs it in. Perfect.
Okay.
Start the car.
So let's
Tap to begin
fast
scan.
forward. I'm making sure we can hear this.
Following her GPS.
Can I get a 1 in the chat if you can hear this? Okay.
At one point, she took a very significant fall off the side of a mountain and had to actually give herself first aid and splint her leg due to this severe fall.
Or in the bathroom.
And as we spoke to Tiffany about this just remarkable story, thinking of going over Kaiser Pass, and there is somewhere between 10 and 12 feet of snow.
Hi, Dustin. Can you hear this okay?
At the time that she went over, it wasn't flat.
Dustin. Hey, babe. Can you hear this okay? Can you hear this okay, Dustin? Can I get a 1 in the chat if you can hear it okay? One, awesome. And you can hear the YouTube video too that I was playing when the sheriff was talking. Was that a 1 also? Here, I'll let it play some more.
Monday the 12th, or Tuesday, May 13th. And then after crossing Edison Lake, the lake's low right now. There's some what we call like little islands that cross the lake. She made it to the what we call sort of the north side of the lake, and then continued hiking all the way back to an area near Golden Lake. And if you look on a map, Golden Lake is not far from Rock Creek Lake, and she was about anywhere from a half mile to a mile from the Mono County, Inyo County line, but still in Fresno County, hiking up peaks as high as 11,000 to 11,200 feet. Just an absolute remarkable story. Her bike was left at a sign, the trailhead for Hopkins Lake. And so once the snow melts and we have an opportunity to get up there, we will be attempting to retrieve her bike for her, because that bike is what she said during her story is really what helped propel her on this journey and got her through the snow and kept her going. And then obviously on May 14th, when the owner of the Vermilion Valley Resort was able to get in because the road had been plowed over Kaiser, he saw a pair of shoes outside of one of his cabins at Vermilion Valley Resort that he leaves open, which is at Edison Lake. And lo and behold, he observed Tiffany there, alive, battered, bruised, obviously dehydrated, but she was in fact remarkably and really truly probably a miracle that she was alive. And then we were able to respond. And to my left today, we have Tiffany here. She's wearing sunglasses after being out in the snow for that long, and the extreme sun did some possible damage to her eyes. So that's why she's here wearing sunglasses.
So Tiffany Slaton, was lost in the snow for at least 23 days, alone, fighting with animals, foraging leeks, making tea out of pine needles. Okay. Only had her matches left by the time she walked to the freaking cabin, where when you hear the story of this, it's going to be incredible. I'm live. Look, bet you guys thought I had a new chair, huh? No, I was borrowing this from Son. He's all, I need my chair. I'm just going to use it for a minute longer. Did you find my phone, baby? No. Okay, just a second, you guys. Can you even hear it?
Well, the worst thing that you can do in an emergency situation is panic. I'm a traveling dialysis technician and an archery coach by trade. I didn't want to panic. In the first 5 days, I was still ready for my vacation. I had some of Fresno's best citrus, which is funny because I'm kind of allergic to it at that point, but I did have food to begin with. But I'm a trained permaculturalist. That means I'm very good at foraging and helping people not go to the grocery store in very rural areas. And the Sierras has a large selection of leeks that is hard to find in other places. In case you don't know what that is, it's sort of a green onion. And I managed to survive off of these leeks and boiling the snow melt for a very long period of time, actually. And I journaled it. I think I've been out maybe 20, 23 days on this. At the beginning, I was coming to try and do a camping trip, so I had 2 sleeping bags and a basic tent. But at the end, after fighting nature for such a long time, I lost my tent, I lost my vestibule, and I did eventually lose both sleeping bags. So I was outside with nothing but a lighter and a knife. How did I avoid death? I'm pretty good at foraging, and nature is quite terrifying. So usually once you start finding things that are scary for you, you do your best to keep moving and get over it. And because of the mountains, I literally got over quite a few of them. So ballerina syndrome it's a syndrome that involves kind of what's known as a high arch. I'm unable to keep my feet on. Can't keep my heels on the ground for more than 3 inches. And what it does is over time you end up not being able to keep your heels on the ground. So things like snowshoes are not something I can find because, well, stilettos are not exactly the best of athletic wear. But I tried my best to find what I could and found a pair of heels made out of leather. I I honestly do not think that without Vermilion Resort, I would not be here at that moment because that was the 13th heavy snowstorm I had been in, and it was going to be the last one. If he hadn't have come that day, they would have found my body there. Um, I've got into an avalanche and 2 landslides in the process. When I came into the hospital, somehow because of the foraging, my blood work was perfect. But I did have a lot of micro cuts. I have a lot of burns, but nothing that I don't think time will be able to heal.
Okay, I was testing the volume and it sounds okay. Had to go get my phone.
That was actually my goal when I ended up on some of those mountains. Was I did not want to celebrate a birthday away from my family. So I had made it a point to try and find some sort of building before the 13th because the last things that I had for food in my bag was a Dunkaroo packet because it was the closest thing to a cake I had. It was 3 cookies and a packet of icing. And a lovely lady had given me some elderberry syrup, and I really wanted to enjoy that on my birthday as hopefully part of a sandwich.
We can't really hear the questions.
Well, while it may not look like it, I am an a pre-Olympian for archery, and in the islands, I am number 2 in the world's islands for archery. In an archery session for 2 hours, we walk the equivalent of 5 miles and lift the equivalent of 2 tons. So my body type is not necessarily going to look like a boxer's, but it is indeed an athlete's. I did indeed see every type of animal or come across every track for animals that could possibly be found in these areas, including the sort of mountain goat, but I have not yet identified because I haven't had a chance to look at the prints. It's only been day 3.
See, she just said she's only been out for 3 days.
Day 1, once you fall off of the cliff and your parents are in the back of your mind from different issues, I necessarily would have said that I would rather, I can't say rather die because I didn't, I would rather live than have to deal with my parents seeing that I failed in such a dumb way. I have 2 brothers, yes. Both of my brothers are military, and that is not something that I wish to put on television. They are not the adventurous type. We'll put it like that. I don't believe that doing mountaineering is something in my brother's futures. If it was something that benefited my family, like a television show called Alone, I may attempt it in order to benefit my family's economy. Yeah. So foraging is kind of, it's almost like going through the grocery store. Eventually you start, boys check out chicks, foragers check out things that you could possibly eat in emergency situations. So in the beginning, I had already started trying to supplement the things that I knew I wanted.
Tiffany is funny. She just said, boys look for chicks, foragers look for food they can eat in emergency situations.
To eat with things that I had found in the environment. One of my favorite things to do, because I am Bermudian American, is part of the British culture is a lot of tea. Manzanita and pine needles is one of the most delicious herbal tinctures that I could probably come across, and it's very relaxing. If it wasn't for the life of
I hope you're taking notes. Manzanita and pine needles makes a fabulous tincture of a tea that will sustain you if ever you're in this type of situation. She was able to get those together and make a tea with snow melt that she boiled.
that situation, I probably would have really enjoyed that aspect. I did indeed make tea every day, partially because of my Britishness, but the other reason is when you're unable to collect a lot of carbs, the next best thing that you can do is to create a stockpile of micro minerals and vitamins so that you don't fall out. I had brought basic camping gear because this journey was only supposed to be a 3-day vacation. That was one of the heaviest snowstorms I had seen. I had actually gotten very lost at that point and didn't recognize that I was back at Edison Lake. I only saw white upon white in that storm. It was a little bit weird, but when I first came across it, it was a pristine Christmas tree and a tiny house, and it had markers like Santa's sleigh. And I could not understand. I actually thought I was losing my mind at that point, that I had somehow managed to make it to the North Pole. So I was not necessarily sure what I had come across But when the door opened and I saw the best sleeping bag I'd never seen in the world, I wasn't.
Oh,
I'm hoping that I'll see progress very quickly. My parents have told me that a lot of people have helped me markers like Santa's sleigh, and I could not understand. I actually thought I was losing my mind at that point that I had somehow managed to make it to the North Pole.
she just said that after staggering to the place where she was found, the little cabin thing, that it looked like it was markers for Santa's sleigh and something about she thought she ended up in the North Pole, you guys. She thought she was like hallucinating.
So I was not necessarily sure what I had come across, but when the door opened and I saw the best sleeping bag I'd never seen in the world, I wasn't necessarily thinking, oh my goodness, I'm rescued. I thought, it's a dry bed. Uh, and yesterday, on my birthday, which is when I got to see them, I was not necessarily at the point of rescue. Most people think that once you've managed to make it to civilization, that the journey is over. But recovery doesn't start happening until your body is fully capable of being able to digest. And at that point, I hadn't been able to digest anything. I could eat, I could drink, but nothing was leaving my body. And it's one of the number one killers for people, um, is actually just trying to not have problems in the bathroom. So I was very happy to see them, but I was intensely nervous because I hadn't made that transition yet. I'm doing much better. My digestive system has started functioning very well. I'm hoping that I'll see progress very quickly. Um, my parents have told me that a lot of people have helped me to collect some funds for recovery, and I'm really looking forward to the recovery process.
These are her parents, you guys. They're so sweet and cute.
Well, we're not going to say she's better. We'll say that we tried to prepare them for whatever the adventure of life will send their way. Um, we're more optimistic than that. We know our children. We know their capabilities to be able to survive. Our children, we've always been outdoor people. Let me rephrase that. My children and my wife are more outdoor people. I would be more comfortable sitting inside an air conditioned in a condo. However, we raised our kids to be outdoor camper type people. Tiffany got the love of foraging and gardening and plants and bonsai from her mother and I, because that's what we do on our farm. We have a microphone in Georgia. So that's where it started. Now my boys, they enjoy, like most boys, they enjoy the military side of things. So they enjoy tearing stuff up. And that's who they are.
Tiffany Slaton, oh my God. I mean, that's basically what I could say. I mean, we were at, of all places, good meal, trying to get some clothes because we had heard it was really cold here, and where we are, it's really hot. So he comes and he gets on the phone. It's like, I heard Tiffany, and ran off. And I am just there crying, and I'm trying to figure out, did he just say that? And a woman walks past me, and I just say, can I hug her? And I hugged her and I cried. it was the most joyous occasion I think any mother could have. I would think anybody that knew their daughter was missing in a mountain or wherever she was would love to have them back. And that, it just, it broke my heart, but it was the most joyous thing that I could ever have experienced. Oh my God, I had so many ideas, jumping her and holding her, you want to just do all those things. But because the moment was hers and she was going through some things herself, we didn't have that moment. But just to hold her, she wanted to hold us. She wanted to hold her mom and dad. I took it in, and I'm just glad to see her, to know that she's alive, and to smell her. You know, no, she was somewhere else, and we had placed her in a hotel just to keep her safe. She was out of the hospital at the time, but I am very proud. I mean, as a parent, we always say, we have adult kids. We can't control them. They can do whatever they want to do. But I'm very proud that she stood her own. I'm proud that she's back. But I will be prouder when she gets a GPS. So that'll be much better. We were talking about Garmins and different other things, but I will be she can do whatever she wants to do, but just get some kind of GPS. And then we can talk every day. Yeah.
We don't keep our kids locked down. This is not a time for us to lock her in back in Tweeds. We'd love to have her back home when she's home, but her adventure is far from over.
That's completely up to her. We have no idea. We are standing back. We're like you guys. What you gonna do next? But whatever she decides to do, we will be next to her 100%.
Most certainly, we will definitely be going back to Georgia, to our little town that we enjoy so much, Reeves County. Oh yes. Even if I have to tie her down, she's coming back home and I say that jokingly, but it's so that she has time to recuperate, so that she can go back out and do another type of adventure
With GPS.
With GPS. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. As far as God, we've always been people who believe in God. That's not going to change. Community, I can tell you, the community here and around the world, so many people got in contact with us, checking on us, just loving on us. And I just totally appreciate every single person who reached out to us. I love people. It's just, I don't care, and I've said it so many times, I don't care where you're from, what you look like, I don't care you're religious or not. People, there are good people everywhere, and for whatever reason, I'm going to say God, but he always connects us to good people. And so I'm going to take it. I'm glad that he gives it to us. Up days, down days, bad days, good days. We're going to all go through it. Every single one of us are going to go through a bad day. But that doesn't mean that there's not a ray of sunshine somewhere. And everybody in the community around the world showed us the ray of sunshine when I couldn't see it at all. So I definitely want to thank them for that. And I thank you for the prayers. And I'm just so grateful, and I'm so thank you. And the police department and everybody that helped. You were here and crying earlier. I love every single one of these people that were out there. I'm helping to find Tiffany. And some here even doing it on their days off, overtime. This is just the best community of people that I have ever met. And I just want to say I'm grateful. And thank you, God, for everything.
Today I'm going to teach you the pink salt trick that even Hollywood actresses are keeping under wraps, or as they call it, homemade Zep. Ladies, just head to the kitchen, grab a pot, and try this weird but simple 7-second pink salt recipe for rapid weight loss, or as some are calling it,
We can't really hear the questions they're being asked, but we'll be able to hear her parents responding.
I didn't know who it was on the other line. My daughter's lost, and we're trying to find her. And I was already warned that maybe somebody will call and pretend to be her to try to get you any false hope or get the attention that comes with that. So I asked her, okay, so who is this? And she says, it's me, Dad. I'm sorry. I'm not dead. That was the best feeling. That was the best gift that I could have ever gotten. These kids that I have are my wife. They're the reason why I breathe, and the possibility and the thought that she might not come home. Yeah, that to hear her voice was really tough, but it was the best toughness that I could have ever experienced. And yes, I guess a person could have been mad at that particular point, but you can't be mad at that. You can't be mad at that. And yes, I did go into the store and say, hey, I just spoke to Tiffany, and yes, I ran off because at that particular moment, I remembered that I need to call the sheriff department to let them know that I just spoke to my love story.
Huh. That had to be an incredible call, huh? So now the responding officers, I think, are going to talk one more time about her resilience and what it would have taken for her to come back from that.
Well, that's a good question, because we had sightings from different individuals, and we'd obviously had some video from the China Peak Landing, which is at Huntington Lake. Not really that close. Kaiser Pass was impassable. We had gone up there with some of our off-highway vehicles with tracks on them and couldn't make it. We had Eagle One fly into the Edison Lake area, Vermilion Valley Resort, to check it out, but we were not really looking that was not an area that you would have anticipated or expected someone to be. And that is what really makes this story so remarkable. And as Verdrina said, and their belief in God and the fact that it's a miracle, when she was getting a notification that the Starbucks off of the 395 highway in Inyo or Mono County was closer than even getting back to Huntington Lake, that just goes to show you how far out there she was. I mean, in this time of year with the snow and everything, we're just not an area that you would anticipate anyone to be. As far as we know, people are not really even hiking the Pacific Crest John Muir Trail in this area right now because of weather and because of snow. So just completely, truly a miracle that the road was plowed on Tuesday and that this individual that runs the Vermilion Valley Resort got in there and was able to make contact with Tiffany on Wednesday. I mean, it's truly, as she said in her story, there was 12 to 13 snowstorms, anywhere from 10 to 12 feet of snow at different points as you go through these high peaks. And for that to all come together on that day is just truly a miracle. This is, you have to believe that God had a hand in saving Tiffany and getting her home and getting her here with us today.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy.
Just a second, you
I look forward
guys.
to you joining us at our next investor webinar, where you can drill deep.
Just a couple more comments from them.
Not that I can think of after this many days that she was out there, and we started our search on May 1st. And then obviously on May 14th on Wednesday is when she was located at Vermilion Valley Resort. When you think about the weather and you think about the altitude, the elements and everything that she was in, and then obviously if you could look at this on a map and going back to the Hopkins Lake Trail and where we're going to go recover her bike from, where her bike was left. I mean, it's a very, very remote area. There's no real.
She was missing from April 20th to May 1st, you guys. because her accident happened her very first day out is when she fell down the snowy cliff and hurt herself. So she, from day one, she had an accident that took her to the bottom of the hill on her way to the camping. And they found her on May 1st. Amazing.
Roads in the area, there might be a few little Forest Service or logging roads here and there, but it truly is a story of survival and determination by Tiffany. There's no other way I can explain it. I've worked for the sheriff's office for almost 30 years. I've grown up here. I spend a lot of time up in that area. I would have never anticipated her in my wildest dreams being able to get back as far as she did. But now we know this is something that we will learn from in the future. Expect the unexpected. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, she truly has.
So the question is, can this rescue worker put into context how amazing her story of survival is?
Absolutely amazing stories. And my last 15 years on search and rescue, we haven't experienced anything close to this. As far as you talked about how close she was to our search area, we use past missing person behavior. There's a lot of literature out there on what people typically do in certain situations. She was so far off the spectrum with that it was absolutely crazy. The search areas we have volunteers. We had a lot of our neighboring counties coming in assisting, and after reviewing our tracks, we drove or walked over 4,300 miles looking for it. And when you have a search area that's almost 700 square miles, it's hard to narrow down the exact location. The happiest I felt in a long time. And I think our whole agency felt the same way. Everyone was texting each other. Everyone was calling each other. Absolutely just an amazing feeling.
I could imagine they felt amazing finding her and
Well, one of the biggest things that you get a lot of time to do when you're on a mountain literally by yourself is you start thinking sage-like thoughts about what can you do to make the world a better place, or how can you make an impact in a positive way. I have gotten to meet some of America's best humans outside of all of the political jargon that you see on television. I now believe in different types of humans. And as much as I have missed my first chance of going to medical school, I do have a feeling that the healthcare world is going to see me again. Based on what the doctors have told me, it may be repairable. I will have to see about it in the future with some of these recovery processes that my parents are going to have to help me with. Maybe not surgery, but it is going to take a long time for these kind of conditions to actually just work themselves out. And I haven't had a chance to see a doctor. The big reason that I kept moving in the first place is my parents are not the richest people in the world. So it will take a while for me to figure out who I need to see, how much that's going to cost, and what some of those logistics are. I think that when I was being checked out by the doctor, partially because of my fortune, they were really shocked about how good my numbers were. But I'm confident that it's around 10 or 20% of the snow blindness that I did receive. I'm not sure what the rest of it looks like because I may have been a aspiring med student, but I'm not a doctor just yet. I do. I haven't gone through it yet because I have to figure out how to open doors first. I don't know. I may think about that.
Just a second.
If your neck looks like this, you need to watch this video. When you sit at your desk or use your phone, your head protrudes forward. And for every inch.
So when you're hiking in general, the first thing that all of the professionals tell you is that you want to make sure to keep a lot of carbs and a lot of proteins. There's a couple of different, I am a nutritionist, but there's a couple of different ways that you are able to power your body for a long period of time. The one thing that I was unable to purchase when I started was a loaf of bread. So the entire time that I was going, I kept trying to figure out what can I forage to make carbs. And at the end, all I wanted was a sandwich. Now that I've had leeks and water for such a long time, it's almost like I've never had food before. So when I got to Vermilion Resort and Raven and the guides gave me some of what they had brought, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it was the best PB&J I've ever had. I actually missed it. The avalanche happened before I got a chance to even see it, so I'm hoping that eventually I'll get a chance to come and see it. A, with GPS. B, probably with a car, so that I don't have to have so many issues. I will be back for archery quite soon, and I do hope that you're looking forward to seeing me. There's a lot of different talk around the time frame that people think that they've seen me. I'm a high-level archery coach as well as an athlete, and the only day that I had to start for my vacation was actually the 20th on Easter. That was the day that I went up. I'm not the type of person to come back until I've at least tried to take a vacation because I am a healthcare professional. I had just finished being, for lack of a better term, burned out from doing a few jobs. And I was adamant about at least trying a vacation once. I don't believe I'll do a long one ever again.
She said that twice now. I think she's serious.
In order for you to be a member of Bermuda's archery team or the United States archery team, you have to participate for a certain time frame. Because of COVID and my parents that I love very much being so high risk during COVID, I stepped off of the field. They needed someone to buy groceries and to be able to take care of the household in places they couldn't go. I still am that person as the oldest child. I will be attempting to recontinue the circuit though soon because if it wasn't for my skills in archery and the experience I had in Bermuda in order to compete, I don't think I would have been able to walk as many miles a day as I did. Well, my first day was actually in the hospital. I had heard of people that had been rescued. Before me, the only person that I'd heard of that had kind of, I don't want to call it the record, but the person that had lasted was 9 days, and they were skin and bones. I was expecting tests and being hooked up to saline, and within 5 hours they had already said, well, we're just going to check you out, so go find a hotel. I've lost about 5 kilos, but my blood work is apparently better than before I even started, so I'm a little confused, or maybe my skills are just that good. Oh, yes, I think so. So I'm working on that along with a couple of the other recovery items. I can't really rush that process. At least that's what I've been told by professionals. I had gotten in contact with the owners of Vermilion Resort. They're wonderful people. Raven managed to remind me that, phone is kind of an important aspect. When I had gotten into the avalanche, I had lost mine.
Wow, she lost her phone in the avalanche.
Plug it in. Perfect. We'll start the car. I need a tap to begin the scan.
And he let me borrow it. And the first thing that I could think of was the 10 things that I wanted to do if I managed to survive. And one was to tell my parents that I loved them. I also didn't want to die because I did not have a GPS. Well, bears are kind of common in the Sierras. I did my best not to participate too often with the animals. Keeping moving in an emergency situation outside of when you're supposed to stay put is very important. A couple of the animals I'm not very familiar with the names of because I'm from an island. We don't have mountain lions in Bermuda. Contact with those, and after talking with Raven about some of the things that I had heard of, he's one of the owners for the Vermilion Valley. I did come in contact with, I think it's a mountain goat of some sort. I thought it was a pack of wild dogs at first, but there's also no dogs in the Sierras, so those were coyotes. I don't really want to focus too much on a lot of it because most of the time for foraging, you're not supposed to hunt when you're on these trails. But when you do manage to find food, the animals are also in competition with you. And on many occasions, I've fought nature and lost. And so I'm not super excited to identify all of them just yet. Like I said before, I'm a high-level archery coach. I was given the wonderful opportunity to participate in the Warrior Games as a judge. So I have been here a few times. However, there are so many different types of terrains for California that I feel like every time I come, it's the first time I've been. I had actually started my journey a while ago attempting to bike the United States and have been was very successful because I only have 6 states left. The goal after Mono Hot Springs was to hit 4 corners and then the last 2. This is actually the first time I have seen anything. I have not. It's been 3 days, and in the wilderness with no phone, no tent, and no map, I didn't exactly have any opportunity to use Instagram, Facebook, or any of those. Yeah, they've also not told me anything. So just coming in to see you guys, you guys look great.
One more question, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys. And I would also like to say thank you for all of the people that helped try and find me, for all of the hard work. I really do have a new faith in humanity, and hopefully I will be a wonderful healthcare professional and possibly MD in the future.
My problem with urination finally stopped, and what I did
All
was
right.
ridiculous. All I needed was a Vic Vapor Rub and powerful ingredient to reduce
Okay, so that was the Tiffany Slaton interview right after she got found for 5 days. Where's my stop sharing? 5 days. She got found 5 days ago after being missing for 23 days or something like that. Isn't that amazing? So I just wanted to do a story about resilience and pop back and strength and not panicking. And look, we need to learn how to forage what's right in the forest so that if we have to survive, we know what we can eat and not eat and how to boil the water, how to boil snow melt. She had some really good things that she said in there. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that here on LRGA Curves. Make sure you smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, ring the bell on your way out so you can get notified. And I'll see you in the next video. Oh, no, wait. Let me say not yet. I'm seeing LRGA. What are you saying, Palaver? What's good, my friend? Tiffany is so poised and calm. My God, she's amazing, right? Isn't she ever so amazing? Thank you so much for the super chat. I love it. Let me like that. Can I like it? Can I love it? I loved it. Thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I was just telling the story about how she's from Georgia and told her parents, they're all Bermudian. She told her parents she wanted to come out to California by herself and do a dream camping trip for 3 days in the Sierra foothills. Well, it's snow season. She gets there on her electric bike. She ends up coming across my Instagram feed, is how I even saw the story, was that I had reshared her as a missing person on my Instagram story around 9 days after the 20th. Her parents reported her missing and it went on social medias and stuff. That's when I saw it. And now I saw that she got found, but I was like, that doesn't look like the lady that was missing. That's not her. Well, she got hecka tan and sunburned out there underneath the on the reflection. You know, you can get a snow tan almost as faster than you can get a suntan in some cases. That glare will get you. You better have your protection on in the snow. You will be all kind of dark. Mm-hmm. Yep, poised and calm. Amazing. God is great. And I feel like it's just a real testament about how we have the ability at any time to kick in and make miracles happen regardless of the circumstances. She said she had to go against wildlife, and lost. She wasn't ready to talk about it. Okay. I imagine she might need some therapy. I hope that there's some type of GoFundMe started for her, maybe, or something, because she mentioned about their finances. And it seemed like insurance wasn't great because she said, yeah, they gave 5 hours after they found me from being in the wilderness, lost for 21 days, including after an avalanche, falling down, dislocating stuff, and having to stint and fight wildlife. 5 hours after they found her, they're like, oh, you're good. You can go home now. Yeah. So, also a note to self is when you are going to go camping, if you're by yourself or not, make sure that you have some type of device that, regardless of location, at least a 911 beacon will be available, because she also shared that when she initially fell on day 1 of her excursion and adventure, she had her phone and went to use it and asked it to call 911, and it told her, no, we're not going to be calling 911. That sounds a little like the Terminator, huh? AI is told her, no, we're not calling that. And she's like, well, can you do this? And the AI was like, no. Her phone was like, no again. And she was like, well, can you call? And she's like, well, where's the nearest Starbucks? Just kind of like, ha ha, frustrated. That thing said, oh, that's 18.9 miles away. That's a little scary, you guys. Anyway, seems like it could be a little more helpful. So, like I was saying, I really appreciate you guys for coming through. Do you have any other thoughts about this? I was giving my thoughts throughout it. I think that Tiffany is amazing. She said she was going to probably go back to med school. I hope she does. She'll change a lot of things. She said she's a nutritionist. You know what she could do from this? She could monetize a line of pine needle manzanita tincture tea. Tiffany's pine needle manzanita tincture tea. Just like I foraged when I survived in the forest for 23 days. Huh. You would buy it. I would buy it. We would buy it together. We would all buy it together. She has a business waiting to happen. Larger, you clued me into this. It's an insane story. Isn't this crazy? Yes. Amazing. That's why I'm sharing it. Not a lot of people are talking about it. I think it's a really exhilarating story, and how this woman was able to survive against all odds. Even the emergency personnel that found her was like, this is amazing. We've never seen anything like this. Never have they ever seen anything like this woman traveling that far in her condition, making it that long on snow melt, pine needles, manzanita tea, and leek soup. She would take the leeks that she was able to forage and make like a soup that she was able to eat. Okay? So with everything else, that's amazing. So a shout out to Tiffany Slaton. She's going to go back to Georgia, heal up, and I look forward to seeing her do a lot from this experience. And hey, you guys keep an eye out. If you see anything Tiffany Slaton that I miss, you let me know. And so we can give it a shout out and get her some support over there, because this is an incredible blessing of a feat of a story of survival that she could immediately turn into a monetized situation, which she could very well benefit from and be able to, continue her mission in life of being an archery master, archery teacher, and all the other stuff. As I love you, are you getting away from toxic stories? I was just replaying your prior video, Powerful Convo. I'm going to follow your lead. Yeah, I'm trying. I really need to realign my chakras. And so, okay, Palifer, I'll tell you. So the other day I was like hecka mad because I was like, oh, I felt like this person was talking trash about me and how dare they, da, da, da. And then about a week, 2 weeks later, myself was like, self, you have a whole YouTube channel where all you do is talk trash about people. And I was like, no, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. So I feel like I did start off on YouTube, like kind of like way more positive than I've been lately. And so I just want to get back to her. Yeah. Plus anger makes you age. I feel like I got a wrinkle or two messing around. Look at that. Look at. Look, see that line? See? I was messing around. So anyway, yeah, I want to do positive stories, keep us uplifted. Like I said before, we're not going to keep going back to that topic from the other live today. And I'm just going to keep it moving in a positive direction and not engage in stuff that's going to waste my peace. Anyway, I really appreciate you. You saw that rant, sorry, but yes. Lance the Boyle, yes. Why are they trying to make me care about these things? Like, we have other stuff to get to. We have freaking things to create and millions to make. So, yeah. And even like reviewing this stuff, like I've been watching Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it's better than it has been because I hadn't been watching. So it's better than not watching, and it was kind of worth it, but I had not been appreciating like Portia. Instead of talk about it, I try to talk about what I did like about the episode, because I can go on and on and on about the thought that is Portia. And yeah, I didn't even go in on her freaking comments about you better not talk about my mama. She wants us, just like she wants our energy over there scattered about her BS. I'm reclaiming a lot of my time this year. Anyway, I love you guys. See you in the next video. Peace. I heard that peace is supposed to be like this, and that it's part of being unity is peace, and that this piece is the wrong piece to do, and that you should be going like this. Has anybody heard that? Leave it in the comments. See you in the next video. Remember what I was saying, enough to go around. Peace.